nuts and seeds. Doctor, is it Crupane?
Propane.
Crupane, how you doing this morning, Doctor?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you for joining us today. But doctor's going to talk to us about some of the things you should be eating. Like I said, we're sort of in this thread today of, especially with the holidays just right around the corner, of how to maintain a healthy diet and what things you need to be eating to live your ultimate and healthy life. Doctor, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Glad to be with you.
Thank you for joining us. Go ahead, Miss Rhonda.
Dr. Krupane, the power of five. Talk to us about how these five food groups work for longevity and better health for us.
Sure. So I wrote the Power Five cookbook because I love food. I love cooking it. I love eating it. I love sharing it with the people I love. But the thing that drives me crazy as a preventive medicine physician is that too often people are scared to eat food. We see these clickbait headlines that say, don't eat this and don't eat that. Or we get advice that we think, oh, it's changed. We were supposed to eat this today and we weren't supposed to eat that. And people get really confused. So I wrote this book to really empower you, to show you that you actually need to not eat less, but you need to eat more. It turns out when we look at the data, people are eating not enough of the Power Five foods, the fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, whole grains, beans, and fish. And I'm a doctor and I say eat more. And you don't usually hear that. And the research shows that these foods are associated with a longer, healthier life. In fact, eating more of these foods can help reduce the risk of diabetes and death from cardiovascular disease, and even help prevent some cancers. And so this isn't really a diet, but this is about eating those foods that when you look around the world, the people who live the longest eat mostly these. And part of living a long, healthy life is feeling healthy and enjoying every moment. And so all the recipes in the book are made to be absolutely delicious so that you do enjoy them.
Doc, how best can we incorporate the Power Five foods into our daily diets? And do these have to be the only foods that we eat?
I'm so glad you asked that question. The Power Five to stay alive are the foods we've just talked about, and probably a lot of people are thinking, "Oh, I know I'm supposed to eat those things, but they don't really taste that great. I don't want to eat them."
Right.
Well, that's why I wrote this book. I turned my kitchen here into a lab to figure out how to make these things absolutely delicious so that even the pickiest of eaters are going to want to eat them again and again and again. But you don't have to only eat the Power Five. I have a whole nother section of the book, what I call the undeniables. It has recipes for meat and desserts. I actually used to work with a pastry chef, so I love desserts, but I want you to make better versions of these things. So I give you the recipes so you don't have to feel guilty about eating that slice of birthday cake. In fact, I want you to eat more of that birthday cake because I want you to have more birthdays by eating more of the Power Five. And I teach you how to buy better meat, how to decode labels, how to get the tips and tricks I've learned from decades of visiting farms and ranchers and spending time in those places to see how people raise their animals the best and how to find those better foods. Listen, you don't have to eat only the Power Five, but you should try to eat mostly the Power Five. And when you follow the recipes in the book, that's what you're going to want to do.
Doctor, you alluded to that just in that answer. You've had a kind of a unique path to here right now, not only being a physician, but you worked in kitchens, you worked in the food industry with high class restaurants, with some famous chefs. How did you turn this into medicine, or was it medicine first, then the food side, or was it food side, and then that drew you an interest into healthier in medicine and a healthier lifestyle?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's really a combination. So when I was in med school, right, I spent all my time toiling away, studying anatomy, learning about what causes diabetes, how to treat heart disease. But when I had a free moment, and there weren't that many, I would cook. I'd cook for my roommates. I started a pastry club for my classmates. Or when other people found a few minutes of spare time and snuck off to the beach, I tried to find a restaurant kitchen that would let me peel baby carrots or clean artichokes. And then I went to Italy and I went to a cooking school. And there I discovered a region of the country where they ate this naturally healthy cuisine that was absolutely delicious. And it was there that I decided I was going to devote my life to both making the world a healthier place, but also a delicious one. And that's why I sort of dug in and I wrote this cookbook because, again, I believe that people aren't eating these foods that we're not eating enough of, the Power Five, because they just don't like them. Even
Yeah.
in culinary schools, chefs aren't taught how to cook these foods so they're delicious. But that's what we did in this book. We made them delicious. I'll give you an example. There's a recipe in there for creamed corn. It's a strange thing, a doctor, to say I made a recipe for creamed corn, right? It usually comes in a can filled with sugar and fat.
Mm-hmm.
But my recipe is really simple. It's just corn, a little bit of onion, some water, some herbs, a little bit of olive oil. You can add some miso if you want for some extra umami flavor. And that's it. I teach you how to extract the most flavor from that corn. And if you serve it to your family on the holidays, they'll have no idea that it's not loaded with fat. It's that delicious.
Well, you bring up that point, and right in front of you are some of my favorite things. I'm a big vegetable guy, but where I see people run into problems is when we're eating a healthier lifestyle. Is we think back to the old ways of how we used to make vegetables, where your parents, your grandparents, where they took something and cooked it for 12 hours till all the color and flavor was out of it. Some of the recipes you call them stealthy in your recipe book, where you could present them in maybe a new or a different style of taste, or like you just spoke about, you don't know you're even eating healthy.
That's right. That's the whole idea. So I'm a preventive medicine doctor, and I almost never buy a healthy cookbook. Usually they're filled with strange recipes or strange substitutions and things you don't want to make again. So I didn't want to write a healthy cookbook. I wanted to write a cookbook that just happens to be healthy. And so the recipes in here, you won't think of them as healthy recipes. For example, I have a recipe for eggplant parmesan, right? That can't be healthy, can it? Well, I've taken out I've taken out a lot of the things that make it unhealthy. I've taken out the breading and the frying. I've reduced the amount of cheese and added in a different type of cheese. I've used a Parmigiano Reggiano cheese, a nice sharp Parmesan cheese. So you can use less of it and add more flavor. And I stack the eggplant really high. So it has a luxurious, delicious, or beautiful appearance and mouthfeel. And you won't miss all that extra fat and all those extra carbs.
And
Uh,
you also have some meal plans and some tips for us in your book.
Yeah, the book is filled with tips. It's filled with what I call the power plan. So I give you basic things you need to go when you're like a shopping list when you go to the grocery store. There's menus to help support you throughout the week. The goal is to get 4 out of the 5 Power Five every day and 5 out of 5 at least once per week. And so I show you how to do that. I make it easy. For example, today's Monday. I recommend on Mondays try making green beans with a walnut sauce. You're getting fruits and vegetables and nuts there. Try my ancient grain focaccia. It's also loaded with tomatoes and olives and whole grains. And then I have a dish in there called chickpea Murphy, which is something sort of riff on something I grew up on in northern New Jersey. It was a dish with chicken and sausage and
mm-hmm.
mushrooms and potatoes. Well, I've switched the chicken and sausage out for chickpeas because chickpeas actually are a great substitute. It still has all of the zingy flavor, the satisfyingness because it has all the potatoes and vegetables in there. But I've cut out all that saturated fat. It looks delicious and it tastes delicious, and that's a great plan for a Monday.
Doctor, where can our listeners and viewers find out more about your books, What to Eat and When, and What to Eat When Cookbook, and now your newest one, The Power of Five Essential Foods for Optimum Health? Where can they follow you on social media and get more of these tips and find out where your book is?
Sure, you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Crupain. My website is also drcrupain.com, so I'm trying to make it easy. And you can get the book at your favorite local bookstore or on your favorite online retailer.
Oh, well, Doctor, thank you so much for coming in and talking with us today. As like I said, as we get ready to start this is sort of the period in the year where we kind of throw out our diets, throw them out the window. We get off track a little bit, but these essential foods will help you live not only a longer life, but a healthier life. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, that media tour is sponsored by